It is preparing to live stream. The thing is, it's got a progress bar, so it streams on other platforms before the other platforms start. So it's not like it's a same time start. Anyway, we are rolling, I think. So give me 2 seconds here. I gotta share my audio, and I'll play us in. Share. Here we go.
Welcome to Earl and the Idiot, the show that gives you the answers you need to take your business to the next level. With Earl Flormata, one of Vancouver's most sought-after business and marketing consultants, author of Business Engine Optimization, consultant to over 60 successful businesses, an all-around evil marketing genius with a combined total of more than $70 million worth of sales to his credit. And some idiot. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. So I like how we get to reuse the background from a meeting that wasn't Earl and the Idiot, and we can use it again, and that's kind of magical.
I made this AI background for our. Are we announcing this yet, or?
Oh yeah, we can totally announce it.
Totally announce it. Okay, yeah. So we're the boat. The boat has been saved from sinking.
So the boat event that we usually ditch this show to attend,
yeah,
was going to die, and we came together and saved it. So here we are,
coming together as a team, and this was the team that got together. The pirates and bums.
I'm gonna like use that weird face swapping app and find all our team members' faces and swap them all with those pieces, and I'm sure Ferris will be pleased. I'm sure Nicole will also be pleased. She's like, "What the hell?" So yeah.
Does she want to be a pirate?
It's more of a guy not necessarily, but we'll see. Nicole's a cosplayer though, so maybe she has a pirate costume, and maybe we can actually put her in the thing in full pirate regalia, so we can see.
There you go. Now now you mentioned it, I actually for White Spot has their pirate pack days.
Oh yeah.
It's the one day a year where the adults can go get a pirate pack, and
yes,
goes to charity or whatever. Last 2 years I've gone there dressed as a pirate. My dad has some pirate stuff, pirate costume type stuff.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so I've gone dressed as a pirate. It was weird. The first year I did it, everyone was like so into it. The manager came out and took my photo. He put me on like White Spot's Instagram page. I was like in their stories. And like these two ladies asked if they could pose with me for a picture and all this stuff. And then I did it again, this year, all excited to cause a big impact there. And nobody said a thing. Nobody cared. I mean, a few people are like,
new management. They don't like Instagram.
I guess so. Oh, I did. When I went to use the washroom, I walked past the table with a little kid, and the mom at the table was like, "Look, honey, a real pirate."
Nice. There you go.
So maybe I'll have to bust that out at their next boat meeting.
That could work.
Also announcing the return of funny mugs.
Oh, excellent! You got them out of the boxes?
No, I bought a new one.
Oh, cool! I like it.
Well, you guys probably don't know. It's part of the lost episodes. I think is I was trying to have a different funny mug.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I didn't have nearly enough funny mugs for every.
Well, I had a bajillion hats, but like we did so many episodes. I think after like 30 or 40 episodes, I ran out of hats to switch to. So
yeah, exactly. I definitely don't have 30 or 40 mugs, but
you only have so many, right? So yeah,
I'm quite happy with this one. If you can't see it at home there,
I like it. The little dinosaur thing. Dinosaur foot.
Yeah, it was in with the Halloween stuff. I guess it's supposed to be like monster foot kind of thing.
That makes sense.
What's that?
That makes sense. That's really cool.
Yeah, but you can just be a Godzilla foot all year round. I think
it's not a seasonal thing. I think Godzilla is welcome all times of the year.
Exactly. Yeah. Have you ever seen the animated classic Godzilla versus Bambi?
No, that sounds amazing.
Oh, I'm not going to spoil it for you then. Go check it out.
And it's on YouTube.
I'm sure it is. It's
okay. I have to. I'm writing that down right now. I'm typing it in our chat. So if you wonder what the hell I'm typing in our chat, it's Godzilla versus Bambi. Godzilla versus Bambi. Now I have to watch this. All right, cool.
It's incredible. It's an absolute classic of the comedy. You ever go to like Spike and Mike's Second Twisted Festival of Animation?
Oh yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of like the earliest ones, I think, for that show.
Okay. There you go.
It's the Beatles.
Right up there with My Spoon is Too Big, right?
Yeah. Well, see, that was the golden age. This This was the Silver Age, I think, or the Bronze
Okay,
Age. I
fair
don't know.
enough. So
I remember.
speaking of
I remember
ages,
watching My Spoon Is Too Big. We're way off on a tangent now. I remember watching My Spoon Is Too Big. We were sitting in the front row, and I'll never forget. My buddy was out of his chair, literally pounding the floor, trying to breathe when we watched that
I
show.
was laughing so
Literally,
hard at the funny hats only part.
yeah, right.
That was great. Funny hats only.
Anyway,
So speaking of funny
we're way out in
clothing,
left field now.
um, I've been trying to hit this goal, and the goal was to get below 200 pounds. And it doesn't matter how much below 200 pounds. I was like 199.6 or something, lame.
Yeah.
But the moment I did that, because I bought this jacket, and it's a leather jacket. There's a whole story behind it. But leather jackets, I had this thing about leather jackets. I felt unworthy to wear them because all my mentors and teachers that I looked up to all wore like a leather type jacket. I'm like, I don't think I'm worthy for one. So I finally just set myself a goal. I'm like, okay, the moment I'm under 200 pounds, which I haven't been since high school,
Mm.
I'm allowed to wear this damn thing. And so today's the day. Weighted at
Congratulations. Very well done.
199.6. So
Very well
jacket.
done.
So if you're wondering why I
Yeah.
have the Avengers jacket on, I was wandering around upstairs, strutting around like a peacock, wearing my Avengers jacket, and having the Avengers theme song play to a very confused bird. Lily's like
Very,
looking at me, going, "What the hell is the human doing now?"
very justifiably proud of yourself, Earl.
So, but confused bird for sure.
Yeah. I've been kind of up and down with my weight loss this year. I did really good at the beginning of the year. And then, I was kind of thinking of just reflecting on this in the cosmic scheme of things. Isn't it crazy that like the thing that always derails my diet is like, oh, we're going to this special event and I got that special food at the special event. It's like, well, I'm at the special event, so I'm gonna have the special food at the special event.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And it's pretty wild. It's a hell of a situation to be in that one of my problems is frequent, routine, easy access to delicious, overly nutritious food.
Well, it's FOMO,
It's,
right? Because it's
you,
fear of missing out at a special event, special
yeah,
food, da 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 da. And
but I just
yeah,
mean on the longer time scale, the history of humanity, having that problem is real. That's a real cushy problem to have, isn't it?
well, wasn't
Too
wasn't that
many
the
opportunities for good food.
wasn't that the problem of kings back in the day? And now it's just, regular guys like us are like, hey, we
Yeah,
can eat anything we want, essentially.
we better than kings back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any
So,
sushi unless they were a
oh,
Japanese king.
exactly. All right. So it's been 20
All
minutes. Should we
right,
jump in?
that was just we just I think we really indulge. Is it because we're doing the show later today? We just decided to indulge ourselves. We're less
Well,
in
maybe
that
because I
business
stood in line at the
mindset.
bank for a long, ungodly amount of time and had to explain to people how things worked on the other side of the counter. Well, they're supposed to be
Yeah,
servicing me, and I'm like, yo, this is how this works. Oh my gosh.
it's. I feel like we could digress on that story for quite a while, and
Oh,
probably don't
that's a rabbit
enough.
hole. Let's not jump down that one.
Yeah, all
I'm
right.
studying.
Save that for next time. Okay, so this is Earl and the Idiot. Welcome to the show, everybody. We've already been talking for 10 minutes. Here we have Earl. If you listen to the intro, he is a business genius extraordinaire, focusing emphasis on marketing, but all aspects of business. One of which we're going to explore today. This is not marketing, and we're here. We ask AI to tell us about the subject, give us some tips on how to tackle the subject, and then we go through it and critique it, which we found was easier than just coming up with the ideas ourselves.
Yeah.
Ourselves. So, and I'm here to just sort of facilitate the show, ask Earl the questions or ask him to clarify things, and play the role of the idiot because you only learn if you're willing to be stupid. You have to not know something to learn something. So you have to be really willing
Hmm.
to admit you don't know something. So you have to risk being the idiot in order to become the Earl, so to speak.
You just gotta ask.
Yeah, just ask the questions.
What was it? The master has failed more times than the newbie has tried. So it's just
Yeah,
yeah. So
exactly.
no, yeah, don't get me wrong. When I'm trying out this stuff, I feel like an idiot. I'm like, hey, does this work? Nope, boom. Does this
Hmm.
work? Nope,
No,
boom. Don't step in
no.
that landmine. So yeah, I've earned my stripes by exploding multiple times.
Yeah, I remember realizing that at a certain point in my life, going, "Oh, when you see that guitar player who's really, really good, he wasn't just really, really good. There isn't a single person who's really, really good at anything who hasn't spent a lot of time practicing that thing.
Absolutely.
And you only see the result of years of practice. You don't see all the falling and breaking
Yeah.
legs or
The
losing
overnight
any
success
fingers.
was 7 years in the making, right? So yeah,
You got to be willing to not know in order to know. And today, as per
the
the
background.
image, our subject is how to raid your competitors and steal all of their business. No. All right, I'll just read out. I'll read out. This is the prompt that Earl put into the Chat GPT AI overlords. Earl asked, acting as a business expert, I like to build training in my company so that it can scale and grow. And I, as the owner, am not a single linchpin holding everything together by my lonesome. Get a little poetic today. What are three best practices to follow, two things to avoid, and one red hot tip for building training that helps us to scale? Now, I chose this because I got this coming up with a client of mine.
Hmm.
And I don't know if this is going to get covered in here. The biggest, it's this unholy combination of issues he's facing.
Okay.
Um, he's one of these guys who's good at his profession, but
Yes.
not the business part,
There's lots of those.
right? Yeah,
Lots of those.
yeah. I said one of those guys, like normal.
Yeah.
Um, so he's not he lacks certainty on the business practice end, and is a little bit he huffs and puffs and talks a big game, but I don't think he likes to enforce things very strongly because he doesn't have the certainty that he's right.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then he is confronted on the other hand, particularly in his sales team. You've heard about this guy before. Um, with I'll focus on the one guy, but sort of the team, but really there's one guy who are unwilling to ever admit that, like we just said in the beginning intro, unwilling to ever admit to not knowing something or being wrong or that there could be another way of doing things or
Right.
right.
I follow.
So this always just fails utterly. We're on run number 3 now, where I've sat him down and like, look, here's the statistics. You got this many leads. This many people weren't even contacted. Many people were contacted once and ignored, and blah 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 blah. So I did all this marketing work to get you all these leads. Your team is not handling them properly. Let's sit down with that team and straighten it out and establish best practices. And he goes, okay, well, let me talk to them. And he goes and talks to them. Never gets back to me ever. And then I hear secondhand through other members of the team, yeah, he came down and talked to them, and they sort of just kind of agreed to just kind of keep going how it is.
So this is what I do. I hire a new junior to follow the new technique. And when the junior starts outperforming all their seniors, I laugh at them. So that's
You
how I do
know, it makes me very happy to hear you say that because that's exactly what I was thinking of proposing. There's another member of the team who is sort of a helper, but she's quite bright and quite personable. And I really think she could do well in sales. So that was
it. Yeah.
exactly the thought I had. I was like,
You take her under your wing, you get her to go. You assign the same amount. That's really key. You assign the same amount of leads to everybody,
hmm.
right?
Well,
So
yeah, I don't know if we can do that, but if we assign her 30% of the leads, we can still pull out the stats of closing percentage.
oh yeah, that's
Right?
the whole point, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, and then
we
you
can
watch
we can find out.
as the youngling kick the crap out of the senior, and all of the senior just starts they just sputter, oh no, but yeah, yeah, and then they give you a
Blah,
bunch of
blah, blah, blah.
excuses, and then
Yeah,
you hire another youngling, and then the two of them kick the crap out of the senior, and then all of a sudden, why are we paying the senior again, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so
There's
either adapt or die, but it's forced Darwinism, right?
yeah.
So
This guy's business could use a little more Darwinism. It's funny because
oh,
he's a very gruff guy generally, and you think he wouldn't have a problem kicking a useless lump to the curb, but he's under that gruff exterior. He's got a heart of gold, I guess, real softy.
I'm a numbers guy to the core, so
Yeah,
there's the numbers. So this is what
that's
the
what I.
numbers say.
Yeah,
As long as
that's what I
as long
told
as
him.
they're profitable, I don't really care. I don't need everybody to be like the nth degree of efficiency, blah 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 blah, right? But as
Mhm.
long as their output exceeds what I'm paying them,
Yeah,
great, keep doing it.
no, this guy's business is tanking.
Okay, well then you got to do something quick.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
because
So
if you don't,
what does
everyone
the
loses.
AI say, and then
What does the AI say? This
apply
is
it back.
related to training. Yeah. Step 1: hire a young person to make the old person look stupid. Hey, look at that. Now, all right. So here are best practices for establishing training systems in your team environment. 1: standardized processes with clear documentation. There you go. Again, that was what I said. Like, let's make an actual standard process for handling leads. Create detailed standard operating procedures. I literally use the term SOPs that outline every task, role, and workflow. These should be easy to update and accessible to all employees. This ensures that your team, excuse me, can operate efficiently without constant input from you and can reference guidelines for common tasks. Earl, what do
Oh
you
my
think?
gosh, yes, please. So I was working in this one group and they were like asking me, Earl, why is it taking you so long to do stuff? And I said, because I'm automating. And what does that mean? I'm like, I'm just documenting your process. Just hang on, right? And then while we were doing this is like 10 years back. And they're like, Earl, it takes you 3 times as long to do it this way. I go, yeah, but when I do it this way, watch it scale. And so what we ended up doing was like, hey, we can't keep up with the workload because there was more and more customers coming in. That's a good problem to have. But they didn't have any SOPs. They didn't have any structure. So just one dude taught everybody how to do everything. But then because, people forget stuff and he didn't write everything down ever, right? And it was always just scribbles on paper, like this, see, like this. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you have to make a document. And so I started making the document. And, oh, you're like 3 times behind. I'm like, just give it a week, right? And so what happened was I had this deal with an international student firm. Like it's a bunch of schools and whatnot, because I used to host a bunch of students. And what happened was all these students need internships, and they need internships in English speaking roles. And the hilarious thing is, most of these kids don't know their ass from their elbow. So, there's one guy who came in to learn SEO, couldn't spell HTML. I'm like, dear Lord. And so we got him. We built the SOP that I spent meticulous time doing. And by lunchtime, he was ranking stuff for Ford, like Ford, the car company. And everyone's like, what the hell? I'm like, Earl, we watched you interview him. He didn't know his ass from his elbow. How the hell is he ranking for Ford? I'm like, SOPs. So, yeah, it takes 3 times as long to build these stupid things. But the promise on the other end of the rainbow is that you don't have to do them no more. The punishment for not making an SOP is you get to do it again. Right.
Right.
So yes, it's painstaking. It takes way longer than it is to do it yourself. But you do it right, magic sauce. So
All right.
absolutely,
And
yes,
so
agreed, 100% and then some.
so you put in SOPs for everything, basically. I bet.
Remember when you and I worked at that group called Kickstart, the shared office space?
Yep.
That's kind of where we met, right?
Not to be
So
confused by Kickstart with Kickstarter. Yes.
right. So because we needed to build SOPs for people running that office space, but sometimes office workers are dumb. So I literally walked around with my phone camera and said, "This is where the light switches are." So they knew where they were, right? Like, turn on the lights. They don't know where they are. I'm like, okay, so here, watch this video. Now you know exactly where the light switches are. You can't screw this up. Here's the alarm system. Here's the alarm code. Please don't set it off, otherwise the police come, right? And so just walking them through the basic process of, and it was just me with a camera walking through the office. Here's how to turn stuff on. Here's how to turn stuff off. Here's how to make sure the police don't show up. Please don't make the police show up.
Hmm.
So yeah, once the SOPs were in place, the police showed up less. It's just
That's a good statistic to track in your business. How many times the police show up?
oh, exactly. So because if someone trips the alarm and then they go, oh, panic, and then they can't figure out the code. I'm like, dude, it's on the thing. There you go. It makes your life easier by them just being able to follow instructions. And sometimes it's just that dumb. Grab a camera, have at her, right?
Mm-hmm. Would you say that it's important in this day and age to include visuals?
Absolutely, 100%. You have
Yeah.
to hit all the different learning modalities, right? Some people learn through visual, some people learn through, and visual video is different from visual text and reading, right? And then there's the
Mhm.
people who learn through, listening to stuff. So then you have to reread the instructions out loud, which actually helps because if you read them out loud, you'll realize that you don't know how to write instructions. You're reading it out loud. Hey, that sounds dumb. Yeah, exactly. So now you do it again, and then you make it, smarter as you go, right? So the first
Mhm.
time I wrote a set of instructions, I thought it made sense. I read it out loud. Oh, holy crap! Nope.
You
So
know, I saw this really interesting thing at a museum one time. It was an old like a World War II museum.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And there was something there. I think it was like a gas mask.
Okay,
So it was like this little can where you crack it open and there's your emergency gas mask in the event of some kind
right.
of gas attack or whatever, right?
Just in
And there
case.
was a little, well, just in case, and there was a little card on it, not huge, but like that. And it was the instructions for the gas mask. And it was like, like step one, grasp firmly the handle in the upper left corner of the first quadrant of the device. Pulling firmly, and moving in a leftward direction, like super detailed. All guys, you're grabbing this in an emergency, in a panic. That's why you look at like life jackets now. It's like guy, stick
Yeah.
figure, head, pull, cord. Like it's all visuals. They don't
It
explain in
was
detail.
fascinating. I met the guy who makes those things,
Oh
like
yeah,
the manuals inside the stuff. I'm like, wait, what? And like he did it for everything. And I'm like, that's fascinating because there's someone's got to make these things, I guess,
yep.
right? And clearly the people in the company can't do it because they do it all day. They're so immersed in it. So they have to hire an outside source because they're impartial, right? It's just like, oh, cool, right? Like, oh, how do you put your gas mask on? Like this. Well, some guy who's never done that before is not going to know exactly where to line it up, right? So there
Mm.
you go. So yes,
All right,
full points to AI SOPs. Yes, please.
nice. And then I guess there's a factor of you want to be prepared to adjust your SOPs if need. Hmm? Or
Yes. So how I adjust them, it's actually kind of hilarious. So I hire a lot of overseas folks as virtual assistants, right? And how I test my stuff is I hire the new guy, I give him the SOP, and I just sit there and wait. If something explodes, I know the SOP isn't good enough, right? So I'm like, oh, well, yeah, he blew that one up because we didn't mention don't click that button. And then he did.
okay.
And then now the spreadsheet's dead. And so that's why I back everything up first before I give it to the new guy. So I
Yeah,
back everything up first. I give him the SOP, I give him the thing, and we just sit there and watch and see what he screws up. And whatever he
right.
screws up, that's where our documentation is weak. Anytime he has a question, that's where our documentation is weak. So
Hmm.
yeah. So I
All right,
test it on new guys all the time.
that
But
sounds pretty
they're my
reasonable.
guinea pigs. It's wonderful.
All right. Number two, advice from ChatGPT: implement role-specific training modules. What does that mean? Tailor training programs to different roles within the company. Break down skills and processes into bite-sized, role-specific modules that employees can complete at their own pace. This approach allows you to onboard new hires quickly and provide a scalable model for continuous training. I don't get it.
As
Like,
weird as that says, it's absolutely right. I've been part of some agencies and some companies and some groups where they train you on the whole company and
uh,
you never use it ever again. There's a
mm,
test and no one ever gives a rat's ass if you pass or not. Because they only care if can you do your spot, right? 'Cause if you can do your role, great. Do you have to be able to do everybody else's role as well? No, absolutely not. Do you really need to know what year the company was founded? Nobody cares, right? So there have been like manuals, and I'm like, dude, you want people to read this? No one's gonna read this, right? But if you make a manual, cool. But then like this thing says, break it down into roles, and then have appendices for like stuff that's going to repeat, right? Here's all the crap we sell. Cool. Appendix A. Awesome, right? Because everyone needs to know that. But if you're the guy who cleans the basement, do you really
mm.
care about how HR works? Not really, right? Here, where's the mop? Here, great. That's all you need to know. So yeah, role specific training modules are good. If you're gonna make a big stupid user manual, cool. Make the chapters into roles so that I don't have to read all the stuff I'm never going to do, right?
Okay, so this is just make it bite-sized specifically to what the guy's doing right now and
Well, because
don't
the guy
include
who's the
things he can
document
upload.
writer gets paid for how big the document is sometimes, and that's the
Yeah.
terrible,
Hmm.
right? Let's make it as big as humanly. No, God, no! Don't make it so that no one's going to read it, right? It doesn't have to be War and Peace to know where to find a mop and the light switch and the alarm system so the cops don't come, right?
Right. Okay, well, that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
No complaints. Well, we were running a little behind. Now we're suddenly ahead because number two didn't take us very much time. See if we can stay a while on three.
Okay.
Leverage technology for automation and tracking. Use learning management systems, LMS, or other training software to automate training delivery and track progress. This allows you to measure employee engagement, skills development, and completion rates without constant manual oversight. Hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
An LMS is key, right? Because you want to see how they've done. So most learning management systems have, for example, a completion rate, right? So they can see how much watch time you have in a video. And if the video is 20 minutes long and they see that you watched it for 7 seconds and then you fail the test and you wonder why, that's
Mm.
why, right? So the LMSs are great at that. They can put mini quizzes in between things to keep engagement for people. So you can ask them the question, hey, is it this button or that button? Hey, is it this or this? Right. And they can click on things. You can make it like, multiple choice. You can make it like video Jeopardy answer. You can make it fun in an LMS. And so, yeah, the definitely yes. So yes to learning management systems. You don't have to go buck wild, right? Remember, this is just education for your internal staff. You're not building a university level accredited, continuing education program or anything like that. So don't go crazy unless it requires it for your situation or your station to do so, right? Like if
Mm.
you're doing, laser beauty stuff for someone's face, you should probably know how to use the big scary laser of death, right?
Mhm.
So cut someone's eyebrow off. But yeah, that's important. But I mean, yeah, LMS very important. The tracking modules are very important because, like you said, did the owner actually train them, or did he kind of give them the Cole's notes and everyone went, yeah, 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 forget it. Well, he'll don't worry, he'll forget about it by next week. It's okay.
Mm.
We don't have to do anything new, right? When you force them to go through the LMS, right, and then they break the rule again, you can ask them, hey, remember the training you got? Yeah. Remember this part? Yeah, you did pass that part on the quiz. You said that this is the right button to press, yet you pressed the other one and the cops showed up. What the hell? Right.
Mhm.
And so now you can track, right? What gets measured improves. What gets measured improves. So building an LMS system for your training means that as you start to scale, as you start to grow, because part of that question was, I don't want to be the linchpin in everything. And if I'm the only idiot training everybody, and I don't make documentation, and I don't put it in a learning management system, how did I know? How do I know that they even took it? If I put a couple of quizzes in there, the only way you're going to know this is if you took the course.
Mm.
That's good. I mean, yeah, yeah, I watched it. They just left their video on. They flipped open Netflix and they screwed off on the couch for like 2 hours, and they came back and go, yep, 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 whatever. Now there's a quiz. Oh crap!
Right.
Did you actually watch it or not? And why were you gone for 2 hours? The video was 11 minutes. And so,
Mhm.
that's the kind of stuff that you can expect from an LMS. Like it systemizes things, gets them to sign off on it. And then when you train them again, right? Because they didn't watch it the first time, now they're paying attention.
Okay. This makes a lot of sense. The larger your business is, like you wouldn't want to. You could still do it with paper if you needed to, right? If you're
You can still
smaller
do it with
scale.
paper if you needed to. I mean, it could just be one Google document, right?
Yeah.
If there's only two of you, then yeah, don't go crazy, right? But as you start to progress 5, 10, 15, 20 people, an LMS saves you time, effort, and money after a while. So remember, like you only use the system when the system makes sense, right? Like let's use a project management system. There's two of us. We could write it on a napkin. Why do we need a project management system? Screw that,
Right.
right? So at certain times, screw the project management system. But at a certain level, you run out of memory in your head. Hey, remember that guy from last week when his lease was up? Oh crap, was his name Dave or Fred? I don't remember.
Mhm.
Well, good thing we have the CRM and the LMS. Thank God, right? So yeah, as you start to grow, you will need these things. In the very beginning, not so much, but you can find these things for really cheap or free. So yeah.
Nice. All right. Here we go. Things to avoid. We got two things to avoid. I like this one. Avoid micromanaging the training process. Once you've established the system, oh, I- that's the face of a guy who's got a good story, I think, about this one. Once you've established the systems and processes, step back. Micromanaging undermines, excuse me, the effectiveness of the training and stifles the independence you're trying to create in your team. Earl, what do you got?
Oh man. So I'm sorry if you're watching, but my father-in-law
Oh no.
micromanages the training process.
Oh.
And it's kind of hilarious. I love the guy, but he's like, let me show you how. And then he shows you how, but then he shows you how for the next 45 minutes while doing all of the work and not leaving any work for you to do. And I'm like, wait,
Hmm.
if I don't get to do it, I don't get practice. And then I don't actually know what I'm doing. And next time I ask, you're going to do it again. And so the hilarious is just, the pattern just goes over and over again. And I've had like business partners, employers with the same type of micromanagement on the training. And I mean, their heart's in the right place. They're just trying to help, but you actually have to let them do the thing. Otherwise, they're not going to learn, right? Because if you just show them for 45 minutes and then do all of the work while they sit there and watch you, you just burnt 45 minutes of your time. What if that guy quits? right?
Hmm.
So there's a problem. Okay. And number two is now the person who's undergone training never got the chance to actually touch the tool, do the thing, run the task, do whatever it is. Right. And so I've seen this type of teacher, mentality where it's like, let me teach you. It's okay. Yes, you should teach them, but eventually you have to kick the baby bird out of the nest so it flies, right? Otherwise, it's just going to sit there, right? So,
I really like that line. It stifles the independence you're trying to create in your team. That's a really good line right there. Okay,
yeah,
you're in charge of this. Go nuts. Like this is your here's how. Go ahead and do it. And like yeah, it fosters this idea of like they've got control of their area.
right. And so right now we're doing this for the B&M group as an accountability system. And so for the facilitators, the model is they have to attend two sessions so they see how they run, and then they have to run a session so they run a session, and then they have to pass the baton from one facilitator to the next so it doesn't break the chain. You can do those three things, ta-da, you're good to go, right? But again, I'm micromanaging. If I sit there on every single meeting, dude, the meetings are 5 days a week, 12 hours a day. I can't. That's 60 hours, man. Like that's I can't sit there and babysit it because if I do, I get nothing done, right? And so yeah, you got to get out of your own way. So let them practice, let them try. And so, maybe the first time they just watch, the second time you watch them drive, and then the third time they just solo it and see if they crash the bus, right?
It's tough for a lot of business owners, isn't it? Take their hands off the wheel.
Well, the problem is that they're masters at their craft of what they do, and then they don't know what the hell they're doing for everything else. Like that, there's one guy who was a baker, excellent baker, best damn, croissants I've ever had. Master of croissants, terrible at freaking accounting.
Hmm.
So, did you know every time you sell one of these things, you lose 17 cents? No. Well, the price of flour, sugar, and butter went up. Did you account for inflation and this and that? He's like, well, no, we were so proud. We haven't changed our price in 20 years, and that's why you're going to die, right? So it's just, yo, man, like if every time you sell one of your best selling things, you lose 17 cents, guess how long you're going to live, right? So because he
Yeah,
forgot to account for the lights, the heat, the staff, the cash register, all those things. They add up, man.
those those little minor inconveniences when operating a business.
Like rent, because we can totally operate the bakery in the park, right? No, so
Yeah,
no.
food truck baby. All right.
Accidentalfoodtruck.com.
Yeah, we didn't have a choice food truck. Someone I saw someone doing the math. You ever see that dollar grilled cheese place
Yeah, yeah.
where it's like it's a dollar for a grilled cheese and
Hmm.
that's it. If you want a tomato, you can fuck off or whatever. You remember that one? You
Yes,
seen
I
that?
remember.
Yeah, I saw someone do the math on it. Apparently, it doesn't work. A dollar a pop. You'd have to sell like way too many grilled cheeses to make a profit on it. So it's too bad.
Depends, right? Yeah, if it's a dollar, yeah. What you do is the dollar grilled cheese, and then you have upsells, right? Like like you said, instead of screw in your tomato, no, tomatoes 50 cents, and this is that, and this is that, and you can micromanage them to death, and add some avocado, and now you're rich.
Yeah, I think it worked at $2 grilled cheeses, but maybe this was before the inflation really ran away. Maybe it was workable at a dollar a couple of years ago.
I'm still astounded how the hell pizza places are able to operate. But then when you see how cheap it is to actually make these damn things, I'm also then astounded again. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
how much does that cost at scale? Holy crap. Right. And so, yeah.
I was thinking pizza places these days must be bummed because they became an essential part of the pizza operation. And so offering free delivery was just like they had to do it to compete. And now suddenly DoorDash delivers for other businesses and charges for the delivery. And the pizza place is like, I think they're sort of stuck continuing with free delivery. And they're like, hey, this hardly seems fair. Everybody else gets a charge except us.
And the hilarity is that some of these Door Dashes or Uber Eats, they deliver from the pizza place and they charge.
Yeah. What a world. All right. Number two thing to avoid: don't overload training with non-essential information. Sort of covered that earlier. Keep training focused on actionable, role relevant content. Role relevant content. I like that. Avoid the temptation to include too much theory or unrelated material that can overwhelm your team and dilute the key messages.
I love the old guys who want to tell you every single story from the day that they're born to the day they're about to die. And
Yeah.
like, there's a bajillion stories behind that. And I'm sure the
You
stories
know,
are great, but we don't need
I,
all of them.
yeah, I don't mind the stories necessarily. Sometimes there's great lessons to be had. I mind hearing the stories 3 or 4 times.
Ah, yes. There you
They
go.
forget it's their favorite story to illustrate a point. Every time that point comes up in a subsequent conversation, they're busting the story out on you. And you got to be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. The tractor flipped over. I remember. Yep.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, don't overload with unessential information. We used to run like the training for like a pretty large-ish Fortune 500 company, and
Brag.
the trainers had to, well, no, because the trainers had to fill this time with stuff, and there wasn't that much stuff to train everybody on because this was the universal training, right? Yeah, I don't care if you were in sales or tech or the janitor. Everybody had to go through this training for, company compliance and this and that and everything else. I'm like, well, I don't necessarily agree with that because, not everybody needs that much stuff. So I'm going to circle back to the position specific training is important. I mean, yeah, bring everybody in for some everybody get together and build some company bond stuff, but don't make that 7 days, right? Sometimes this training what lasted a week, and I'm like, this is really like 2 or 3 hours for the entire day, and we're done, and then we just screw around for most of the time. So if we just batch these 3 hour sessions into 6 hours and just got it done, we can be in and out of this damn thing in 2 days, and we're done, right? Because I realized that this was universal training, so they flew people in, they put them up at a hotel for 7 frigging days to go through useless content, right? And so this is how come I'm saying I agree so much with the non-essential information piece and the position specific piece. Yeah, sure, bring everybody in for a big hurrah, but don't keep them hostage for 7 days while you show them crap that doesn't matter.
I want to get my company to the point where I got that kind of dough to waste on putting up my employees
Oh
in
yeah,
hotels
that's
for
the
7 days.
problem with the big corporates. They're like, oh yeah, we should totally do that. And it just runs off the handle, and the budget goes to the moon. And like that shouldn't have cost 3 times that much. So yeah, sometimes it happens. $50,000 hammers, I like to call them. Right.
That whole thing. All right. That's pretty straightforward. Just stick to the facts, man. I like that. Actionable role relevant content. It's almost soothing to hear that from, a person who's held several junior positions. Actionable, is it just at saying to your boss, sir, I just gonna stop you 1 second. Is this actionable role relevant content you're providing me right now?
Right. Yeah.
I guess not. Okay, good. Can you any chance you could shut the fuck up then?
Moving right along. Moving right along.
Moving right along. All right. So what does ChatGPT say is a red hot tip for training, implementing training roles and practices into your company? Embed a culture of peer-to-peer learning. Oh, this sounds dangerous. I'm not sure. I'm gonna read this, but I'm not sure I'm down with this. Encourage experienced employees to mentor newer team members as part of their daily responsibilities. This not only fosters a collaborative environment, but also helps scale the training process organically. Peer training can be one of the fastest ways to distribute knowledge without relying solely on top down instruction. What do you think of that, Earl?
We used to do it as a best practice.
Okay.
So peer-to-peer learning, one of the companies I was in was we had a regular lunch and learn. So once a week, we drew straws or we stuck our names in a list, and the random number generator would tell us, well, you're number 17, so on the 17th week you're up. And so you had to pick a topic, create a course, and then teach it to the team over lunch, which wasn't that bad. You had 10 minutes for 10 slides and go. And that was actually really cool. I learned a bunch of stuff through peer-to-peer learning. That was one model that I really did enjoy. On another group, we had seniors. So it says encourage experienced employees to mentor new team members. Um, Before we went up the chain, we had to go to those guys, and we called those guys resources. So we go to the resource, ask them the dumb questions before we went up to management, before we went up to super duper higher management, right? And so it did filter a lot of the dumb questions, and we did learn a lot, right? I'm still friends with some of my resources to this day because they were that influential in my learning and growth when I was a youngin.
Hmm.
So yeah, and like
I
I'm,
guess
I'm one of them is one of my best friends. I'm like, hey, this is great.
hmm. I guess I'm my like when I see that, I'm worried. Like, isn't that a chance for uh bad practices to kind of fester and grow in your company, where some employee has developed a bad habit, he's passing it on
Well,
to his
this is where
mentees.
HR compliance and regular check-ins kick in, right? So when you're getting your peer-to-peer training, right? They're teaching from the manual, they're teaching from the SOP, they're teaching from the standard structure, and all the tests are still based on that. So you might have gone through this stuff, but you might have to review, hey, here's a safety feature because it has been, X number of days since the last accident and someone just did one of these, right?
Hmm.
So yeah. Yes, it does, but you have to let the baby grow up and you have to let the team grow. But you get them all preaching from the same book, and then it makes sense, right? Hey, here's our standard operational procedures and manuals. Teach them from this, right? And not everyone's going to be made out to be a good teacher, and then all of a sudden they get relieved of teaching duty because they absolutely suck and catch things on fire. So, but you give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because if you can get out of the linchpin position as the owner, that's the only way to get your company to scale.
All right,
Hmm.
we'll shut my mouth. I guess that's how it is.
All right, I guess it's that
But I
time
think
then.
yeah, teaching from the SOPs that would probably be key there.
Yeah, teaching
Don't
from the
let
SOP, and who blessed
mm,
the SOP? You did. So if you make a bad SOP, that's on you.
mm. And I guess you'd want to be open to your employees saying, hey, look, if you can think of a way to improve these SOPs, feel free to bring it to me,
Oh
and
yeah, I
we'll
challenge
evaluate it.
them.
Right?
I actually say every time you guys fix the SOP a couple times, I'll give you $500. Why? Because it saves us $500 in headache of oopsies and customers pissed off and this and that and everything. So if they can find like a really good solid addition to the SOP, I reward them and I reward them handsomely because over time, those are magnification factors. It's not 1 plus 1 is 2. It's one times whatever the multiplier is times the number of staff you have.
Hmm.
It's a magic number, right? So it's a multiplication factor. It's a force multiplier is what they call them.
So sounded like you were about to go into Terrenceology there for a second. Did you ever heard of Terrenceology?
Yes, I remember Terrence.
One times one is two, bro.
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down right now.
No, no, no. I'm pushing the button. I'm pushing the button. Here
Instead,
we
we're
go.
going to go down this rabbit hole. Hack of the week.
Hack of the week. All right. So I came up with three.
Three
Number one,
weeks of the week.
hacks of the week. So follow around someone for a day. Document it. Okay. Interview them on the spot. Why, when, where, etc. And all of a sudden, boom, SOP process done. At least to like an MB, a minimum viable product functional level, right? Because people go, I don't know how to do documentation. And most people don't know how to do documentation. And that's okay because documentation unto itself is a separate acquired skill, right? But if you just follow someone around all day and go, hey, why'd you do that? Hey, why'd you do that? Hey, how's that work? How'd you come up with that number? They'll tell you. And then you've got the rudimentary makings of an SOP. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's better than zero because some people are better at fixing something that exists versus just complete blank slate. You give some people a blank slate, they give you a blank face and they have a blank brain, right? You give them something to work on, they go, no, no, that's not right. Do it like this instead. And for whatever reason, more people in the world are better at editing than they are from creating from scratch. So that's why this technique works. The next one is build out processes using the sticky note method. It's called the critical path, and it's how they got a man on the moon. Right? You build it out so it makes sense.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Are we going to bring out the flat earthers now too? Oh gosh.
Oh,
Uh,
don't
we've
don't
had that
get me
discussion in
started.
the park, so no.
I'm really encouraging you not to get me started on the
There you
flat
go.
earthers.
Oh dear. Then you got to ask stupid questions. So you build out your path that makes sense to you. Then you ask stupid questions. Like make sure you can fill in all the gaps. See if a 5-year-old could do it. And the dumber the questions that you're able to ask, the better the document that you're able to produce. Okay. And then lastly, work it backwards. Work it backwards because now you're checking every step the other way. And since your brain works forwards usually when you go backwards, you see stuff you didn't see before, right? So I used to have this thing where I taught people to do this by baking a cake. And one of the steps was cut cake. And then I asked them, like a ninja? Like, at what point did you say get knife? They go, well, yeah, you're supposed to get a knife, right? But you didn't say that in the documentation. And they're like, well, people don't understand that. Like, well, if I explained how to write a SQL query to you, would you know exactly what to do right away? Well, no, but yeah, exactly. Common sense is only common sense for so long. Get knife, right? Cut
Yeah.
cake.
Assume it's like assume they don't know because if they know, they can be like, yeah, obviously they'll get a knife. But if they don't know, you'll catch them.
Yeah, and that's really
Have
it.
you
And
have you seen
the
that video where the dad has his kids tell him how to make a peanut butter and jelly
you
sandwich?
read my mind. I was
You're
exactly
about
going
to
to
say
go
that?
right there. The peanut butter guy. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So, um, so there you
I'll let
go.
you take it
Okay.
away then.
And then the last one
Hang
was
on, wait. Are you going to tell the story about the peanut butter guy or no?
we can tell the story of the peanut butter guy if you want. So,
I was backing off because I thought you were going to take it. You were about to say
oh
it.
no, go for it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have at it. Peanut butter guy.
It's a great video. You should check it out. Basically, the guy tells his kids, he's like, "Okay, kids, I want you to write out to me the instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich."
And he follows them literally.
He follows them literally. It's like the kid says, you take a knife and put it in the peanut butter and spread it on the bread. And so he takes the whole jar and he's like rolling the jar around on the bread with the
Right.
knife in it. Like he sticks the knife in and just rolls the whole jar around.
Or
No,
he
the
puts the
kid,
knife in upside down and he spreads it with the handle, and the kids are like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly."
Or it's like put one slice of bread on top of another slice, and puts them on the tall end like this.
Yes, I remember that one. That was pretty funny.
I really love watching kids go, "No, you, it's I mean," like it's sort of
Right.
frustration.
But the funny thing is, that's literally what you have to do as a business owner to build a proper SOP, because
Yeah.
someone who's never done it before, yeah, they'll bake your sandwich vertically and look stupid. Yeah,
Every time you're about to watch an SOP, just watch that video again. Every time you're about to write an SOP, watch
yeah.
that video again and just see how literally someone could take your
Oh,
instructions.
absolutely. And just realize that I know I keep saying this, the two most common elements in the universe are hydrogen and stupidity, and I think stupidity is winning. So,
Yeah.
all
Making
right.
more of that every day. We
Number
got
three
a
is a
finite
number three
quantity
is
of
a
hydrogen.
yeah number three is a doozy though. Number three is a
All right,
doozy.
go to number three.
If you can make a strong enough, generic enough version of the SOP without giving away all of your secrets, or you just take your main one and you water it down, right? And if you can do that, what happens is that you can then sell it to you can then sell it to your competitors,
Now that's an Earl hack right there.
right? And then the hilarious thing is you sell it to competitors who aren't in your area, and you take that money and you buy ads, and then you crush the competitors in your area, and they have no idea where the hell the money came from. And then I find that hilarious. So yeah.
That's good. So so you're selling your SOP to your competitors. Do you set up a shell company? Or, hey, we're SOPs Incorporated or something?
Yep. Set up a shell
Okay.
company, do it like that, structure it that way, and then even more secret sauce. Here's tip 3.5. If
Uh-huh.
you are in an industry that requires continuing education credits, make your SOPs CE credit worthy, and now they have to take it.
It's always the extra little thing you throw in there where the real juice is.
That's the one that makes me smile. It's like, haha, suckers, now you have to do it. So
Huh.
yeah, I love it. I'm a bit of a dick when I do the CE model. I wait until I promote the crap out of it during the summer, and then I only sell it October, November, December. So they have to do it because they're freaking out
So
because they don't have their credits to pass, and if they don't get the credits, they might lose their accreditation, right? So
okay,
you
so
market it October, November, December when everyone's freaking out and they got to get it done, and man, it's just not fair.
here's my idiot question. What so companies have to do a certain amount of educating? What's I don't actually totally understand what you're talking
Certain
about.
designations require you to have certain number of credits, and if you don't get those credits, you lose your designation,
Hmm.
or there's a chance to lose your license. So I'll give you an example. There was a thing called certified treasury professional. So treasury software services and that sort of thing is for companies north of 100 million bucks. Everybody who is in that certified space requires continuing education credits. I think X number of credits every 2 years. And like I said, I marketed it so that it would happen in October, November, December, because no one thinks about it all year. They're like, yeah, yeah, it's fine. Da, 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 da. Oh my God, it's October. And then
Hmm.
and then we market and they're like, oh, that sounds great. We sell so many courses, we get it all done, and then we get so many demos, we make more sales, and then I just laugh all the way to the bank.
And you
So
buy the ads and crush your competition.
right. Good times. Good times.
Genius. All right. well, everybody listening, we hope that that was informative to you and that you will implement some of this. We should make SOPs for SOPs. That would be there's a business for you. Training
Very,
people on training people.
how very meta.
Right? We'll call the company Meta. Has that been taken?
Wait, that's been taken.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, sadly. Meta 2. Okay.
Meta.
Alrighty.
Beetlejuice. All right, I guess we'll take off then. Thanks everybody for joining us. Like I say, we hope you learned something. And thank you, Earl, for providing us your nuggets of wisdom. Thank you, ChatGPT, for doing all the hard work. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
And thank you, Dan, for being my gracious co-host with the awesome background. Love it.
And funky mug. Oh, where is it?
And the dinosaur Godzilla mug. That's most important. All right, cool.
Play
Playing
us
us
out, baby.
Here we go.
Thanks for listening to Earl and the Idiot. We hope you learned something you can take action on this week. For more information or to contact the show, visit earlandtheidiot.com. And until next time, remember what Shakespeare said. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool.
Bye-bye.